So 0.02 to 0.5.0 is the maximum, and we're pinching on 4. I can't get 4 into that one, and I think the other one I will recheck it a bit further down the board, but I do believe that that was a little bit more wider. I'll put the piston in there again, put it down a bit further, and let's move it so we can see it. We've got our rings in, so that's pretty even. So let's see if we can get our 0.4 in there. No, not going in. So 0.3. Yeah, that's millimeters, of course, and 0.3 on here. What I'll do is I'll just push this one up level, or more or less push that one in a bit more. Turn it around. I think this one's the tighter one of the two. 0.3. Nearly. So I'm going to aim for that. Just take a tad off of these, and I mean a tad. So what I'm going to do is get myself a file, put that out of the way, and that one. Flat file, little flat file, like so, and just rub it up and down a couple of times. 1, 2, 3. So I'm doing one side, 5 and 5 on there. I'll just clean off all the spoof on that, and then we'll stick it back in our barrel. We want the 3 to get in there now. So sockets again. Piston back. Still a bit tight. Yeah, that's going in. Move the rings out of true. So yeah, that's gone in. So I'm quite happy with that. 3's gone in there. So 0.3 millimeters, and if we turn that around again and push that in like so. Yeah, I would say they're the same. So both of our rings now can go on our piston, and to do that, what you need to do is, when they're new rings, they're quite flexible, they move. Old ones, be careful when you're doing this. Just open them up with your thumb, 2 thumbs, and slide it over. The reason why I'm doing that is I don't want these to scratch the piston if I can help it. So that's that one in. And you're looking for the little pin, if you can see the pin, and it should close right on the pin, which that one is doing. And then we'll take our second one for our top and do exactly the same. Obviously make sure that you haven't picked up any dirt like I've just done there. Putting it down on there has probably made it a bit dirty. And again, 2 thumbs, and just go over the piston like so. And we're in. Rotate it, rotates nice and freely, and there's our other pin. With a piston, you've got an arrow, the arrow always points south, exhaust. What I've done with this cylinder is it's already been tuned quite extensively on the exhaust ports. I've just taken these. I was toying with the idea of knife edging. In the 60s, what they used to do was open this transfer port down as a more, it looks like your thumb is the best way I can describe it, that sort of shape. So they take that right the way into the transfer. Because with Lambrettas and Vespas, these transfers here are not massive, so what you're doing is you're increasing the flow of the fuel by the fact you're moving, instead of it being blocked off to say there, it's moved to there. You only take it in literally, if you think of your thumbnail, into the side there. Got a bit of dirt in there again, like that, so it looks like a point. I've been looking at Japanese and two-stroke tuners, and what they call knife edging is sharpening these transfer ports. Waste of time in my opinion, absolute waste of time. Whereas if you're moving the port forward, the transfer, you're going to get a lot more fuel as the piston comes down. It's going to start filling up from there, not back here, and it's not going to come around and in like here. It comes around the piston and in. When the pistons fall back, then no more obviously can come in. Came across a barrel like that. It was a 150 pacemaker engine, and you know, the thing would just wheelie. Open it up, it only had a 20mm carb on it and a standard Lambretta exhaust, and it was lightning. Honestly, what can I say, but virtually everybody that I knew at the time had the engine at some point in their scooter, so that's how good it was. And it's a bit of a story how we come across it, and if you're watching, Darren, you know, and I'm keeping it to myself as well, but we didn't nick anything, put it that way, but somebody did in the past, and obviously were tuners and knew what they were doing with Lambretta engines. But like I say, I've never seen it on any other engine than that engine. But you know, you speak to old school tuners from the 60s and that, and they used to do that to the barrels quite a lot. I suppose you can overcook it, go too far or whatever, but I had sort of a rule of thumb going in there, so you just put a V into the sidewall, so your transfer comes much earlier around, so you're going to get more fuel in and more air in, and you know, the idea is you get a better bang and more power. That's what we're after. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to give this cylinder a clean up, put some two-stroke oil in it, get the piston on, and put the gasket sealer on here. Make sure I've got no rubbish in here. Clean it again. Put the little end in, as I say, and build the top end up. But what I've got to do first is just remove these slightly. Probably about 5 turns will suffice. But I got carried away putting these in temporary yesterday, and I've gone in virtually all the way with the thread, which I thought would have done, but it hadn't. So all you do there is you put one nut on and another nut, tighten one against the other one, and I'll be twisting them out 5 turns. So I won't bore people with that. I'll do that and I'll cut back in again. What I might actually do is remove them completely and put some lock seal on them. That's probably a good idea, rather than just screwing them in like they are at the moment. So I'll do that anyway, and I'll cut back in again. Right, so I've got the circlip piston on, crankshaft. I put a new small end bearing in, and these are all now got thread seal on them, so they're in. And all I've done is I've undone them about 5 turns, so I can get the flat washer, spring washer, and I might even change them for new ones yet, the cylinder head bolts. I can't change that one, or can I? Yeah, I probably could. I've got a shorter one, so so all it takes now is that get rid of that rubbish off there, is the base gasket, and put some thread lock on that, or should I say instant seal, Loctite seal I use. So put some of that on the so I'm just going to put a dab on it this time, not go mad. I'll just put a bead on the end of it, not go too mad on it. So what I'm actually doing is, you need to go around all the studs, but just go on the edge of here. Don't go too mad with it. And it only needs a tiny amount. I think I well overdid it last time, or the time I used it on the Series 2 engine anyway. It literally just needs a scrape, just a tiny bit on it. Like so. It's like I say, it's more around the studs than anything else, the cylinder studs. A tad more on there. Just to make sure that it passes any test with the leak down testing. So I've just got to do the other side now. Then we can slide it on. You can put this on before the piston. Doesn't really make a lot of difference, to be honest. It does its job, so you can clean the piston after in any case anyway. Like I say, it's more around the studs, because they do have a habit of leaking on them. This shouldn't leak at all. As I've said before, it's all brand new, so I'm not using 60-year-old equipment on this now. So what I'm trying to do now is just that last stud, a bit more than that. So all the studs are all covered, all of it's on. We need to put it on that way, isn't it? Yeah. And what I'm going to actually do before I slide it all the way down, I'm going to take these gloves off and just use a screwdriver on it. I don't want to get any stuff on the piston, so I'm going to use the 2 new gloves. And then I'll use the screwdriver to just get it past the piston. And then all we have to do then is compress our rings, put our cylinder down, and bob your auntie. And this stuff takes ages to go really off, so I'll have time to clean the head up before I put it on. It's not the best head I've ever seen in the world. It's typical Scooters India, I'll explain in a minute, but it will do the job. So again, it's that making everything do mentality that they've got. So we'll slide that on. A screwdriver. In fact, I've got a clean glove on the left, so and slide that over, Keep sliding it over, such, and I'll pick a clean finger, and we'll slide that the rest of the way down and just force it home. So that's in place now, that gasket. Again, I don't know what it is with these gaskets lately, but they're not the best gaskets in the world, are they? I'm going to have to use the knife on the right hand one. Tad more than that. So, what I'm going to do is just take the piston back a bit, so it's been supported by the crankcase. That's it. And just slide on the cylinder, fluff and what have you from the rag. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then what we can do is just bring our piston up, so it just going in there into the cylinder. There it is on its upward stroke. Then what I'm going to do is push from the sides like so. There we go. Easy when you know how. So now we can run our piston up and down our bore 3 or 4 times. Just hang on to the top of the cylinder. Just run it around, up and down, nice and free. I did put a little bit of 2-stroke in there, but like I say, I'm trying to build the engine with not so much rubbish on it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to clean up the inside of the cylinder head, then I'll cut back in again. And literally 2 minutes later the head's cleaned up. That's why I'm saying about how they make, mend and do. There's plenty of surface area to seal, and I've opted for the slightly lower compression 1mm gasket. So that's that way on. And again, you don't need any sealant on here. You can do if you want, but never found it necessary. Put that on there, and we can do up our head. So I'm going to cut away, get my nuts and bolts together for that, because I'm going to probably use the 13mm heads, not the original 14s. They're old. They can go back on the Series 2 engine. Right, so what I've got to do now is just tighten up these. They're just finger tight at the moment. So I'm going to set the torque wrench to 14. Out there, and do them in an X. 1. Might need the extension, I don't know yet. It should go in. 2. 3. 4. That's our head on. And what I'm going to do is just get a spark plug. Have I got one up there? Nope. Just going to get a spark plug and spark plug in that hole for the time being. I'm only doing it up lightly. It's a new spark plug anyway, but not even tightening it. And then I'm just going to rotate the engine a few times, see what the compression's like on it. I will do a compression test when it's back in the scooter, so that's just hand tight, nothing more than that. And I'll get our 17 back on there again, rotate it and see what we've got. Not bad. Yeah, moving nice and free anyway. There's hardly any when you've got not on the compression stroke. I'm quite happy with that. So what I'm doing now is I've just moved the piston to just cover the inlet manifold. I'll pick you up and show you that. So nothing can fall into the engine. Otherwise, if I drop something in there, all of this has got to come off again. So we are getting there. Not much more to do on this engine, just time it. The only conundrum I have got, which is what I was going to say to you earlier on, I have a Scootopia 22mm carburetor. That doesn't fit because it's a 150, but it doesn't fit in there. That one doesn't fit. It's like it's got a 150 inlet into it.